Napoli fans around the world, welcome to Napoli Talk. We are less than 24 hours away from our first Serie A game of the season, and Conte has just dropped one of the most iconic interviews. A lot of truth bombs. So let's get into that. We won't go over the entire press conference because there's too much, and I'm sure you guys have already read everything and reacted and commented on everything already. But let's go over the key points. Let's go over my interpretation of it, and then let's go a little bit over Verona. So the key points for Conte are this. And look, at the start of the press conference, he was going according to the script that Napoli handed over to him, which was, Napoli was like, please, Conte, just stay positive. Just please, positive energy. Please, I beg you, don't say anything out of line. And Conte, the first 30 seconds seemed like he was heading in that direction. He said that he was pleasantly pleased by the effort that the players put in the past month of the retreats. But then when questions started to arise on, are you pleased with the mercato? Are you pleased with the squad depth? Are you pleased with the quality that you found, with the motivation of these players? Then his answers changed, and he said things that were on his mind. And he said that, look, these players, whoever is saying that these trainings are hard, they're not hard. You gotta think that, for me, these are normal set of trainings. So please adapt and grow up, is basically what he told Rachmani, who said that his trainings were hard. Then when he was asked about squad depth, he's like, look, the situation is what it is. I'm not going to go talk about players that we don't have, but objectively, we're going to be playing against Verona in midfield with backups, two guys from the youth team, Colisacco and Iaccarino, who have 0 Serie A minutes to them, but that's who we have on the bench in the middle. When it comes to the quality, he didn't explicitly say whether he found players to be below standards, but he said that when he came into this job, he thought that he would find a few surprises, a few positive surprises, and that it wasn't the case. Actually, the situation was worse than what he thought. And for me, that speaks to the quality that he found, because the depth of the squad, you already know that from just looking at the team sheet. So what he's talking about is the quality. It's the behind the scenes management. It's all these things. And he was negatively surprised by that. And when he was asked if this team reminds him at all of that Juve that was seventh, and then under him, when he came in, immediately went and won the Scudetto and went and won many Scudettos, he says, no, there is nothing similar between us and them. And that's tough to hear, because if there's one thing that Juve team had that even as rival fans we cannot disregard, it's that they had a lot of leaders in there. They had a lot of quality. They had guys like Marchisio, Pirlo, Tevez, Bonucci, Barzagli, Buffon, Lichtsteiner. They had Grinta. They had leaders, quality. And Conte saying basically that he's not able to find any of that in this Napoli team. So that we are at the very basics. We are at level 1, he says. He said not level 0, but almost. So basically level 1, and that this is going to take some time. So guys, do not expect that just because we have Conte, then we're going to be top 2 or top 3. Maybe we're going to be top 2 or top 3 because he's able to improve these players and we're able to get some positive surprises. But objectively speaking, today, 17th of August, in our midfield right now, we have Lobotka, Anguissa, and that's it. And then we have 2 guys from the Primavera, Colisacco and Iaccarino, who have 0 Serie A minutes. This is the weakest midfield in the entire Serie A. If you then also consider that down the flanks, We have Spinazzola, who is a great player, but we don't know how much he's going to withstand physically for the full season. And Di Lorenzo as an adapted right fullback, or Mazzocchi, who was playing for Salernitana 12 months ago. This is the squad that Napoli has in the middle. We are without a number 9. Obviously, guys, these things might change, right? Lukaku might come in. Neres is going to bring some quality down the right-hand side if he comes in. Maybe there's going to be a few things, there has to be a few things that happen in the midfield centrally. But objectively speaking, right now, 17th of August, this team does not have depth, does not have quality to compete for the top 4 positions. And Conte was very clear about that. And this is a message for De Laurentiis, for the club. And some people also think that this is a message to the players to step up. Now, I think that's a little bit different. I think whatever he says to us, to the media publicly, is different than what he says behind closed doors in the changing room. In the changing room, guys, he will be telling these players that they are good enough to go and win. Otherwise, he would quit. If he would quit otherwise. He's got to think and he's got to instill in those players that they're good enough to win. But it's clear that publicly he's going to list out all the problems so that he puts pressure on the club to act on it. Because otherwise, over the course of a season, it's not going to work out, right? Now, speaking of winning and everything, let's talk about Verona, guys. Verona is a team that last year I had them as going down, and I was very close to making that prediction true. They saved themselves by 3 points with a run of form towards the end of the season that nobody really expected. Now, their attacking and midfield revelations, such as Foloruncio, for example, who is now with Napoli but is on his way out, have gone, right? Their attacking revelation from last year, he's gone as well to Lazio, right? And I'm just reading here, they have sold players for a value of 22 million. They let go of Foloruncio, which is probably worth 15, which they had to just get back to Napoli, so that doesn't even count as selling. So they sold for 22. They've probably let go players in total that make this more like they've lost 45 million worth of squad value, and they only spent 10. So this is an even weaker Verona from last year, right? It's a Verona without Noslin that went to Lazio, without Thomas Henry who went back to Palermo, without Foloruncio that went to Napoli. Guys, this is a weak Verona. Their manager is also different. This Napoli team, even though we have our problems, even though Buongiorno might not make it into the squad, even though we only have 2 midfielders, even though we might have to start Raspadori as our striker, this Napoli team has to go and win against Verona, right? Verona lost in the Coppa Italia last week to a Serie B team, all right? We struggled against a Serie B team, but at least we didn't lose in 90 minutes. Verona lost. So there is a gap between Napoli and Verona, even with Napoli being not ready for the season. We have to get these 3 points, guys. And if we don't get these 3 points, I'm going to say it today, the day before. I'm not going to blame the club. I'm not going to blame De Laurentiis, because you know that you're playing against Verona since last month. You have 1 month to prepare this game, and you know since last month that your starting 11 is going to be this. Yeah, maybe we might have been lucky and got in Lukaku earlier or not, but look, there was always that risk, right? That this wasn't going to happen by the 18th of August. So you had a month to prepare with either Simeone or Raspadori as a striker. You have to win this game. Spalletti, Mazzarri, Calzona, Garcia, they all played games without Osimhen, without their main number 9. They all played games with injuries. They all played games with a limited squad, with a lot of complications. And they all managed to show that this team somehow is capable of winning, even though you start Raspadori, even though you might start Simeone. Maybe not every game, but we can win some games with Raspadori and Simeone. And if you've had 1 month to prepare with this, then you have to win the game. Now, I'm not trying to say that we're okay with Raspadori and Simeone for the full season. I'm just saying for this one game against a very bad team, you should have 15 players that are good enough to get the 3 points. And if you don't get the 3 points, I'm sorry, but that's going to be down to you and to how you were not able to prepare the team for this game. Now, my hope and my prediction is that we get the 3 points and that this part of the discussion, we don't even have to touch upon it tomorrow, right? And guys, look, if we get the 3 points tomorrow, let's not get too hyped up, right? The thing goes both ways. If we're saying that we should win because Verona is not a good team, then if we do win, let's remember that Verona is not a good team. Let's not get hyped up. Let's not say, Conte, the savior, Conte, he's going to solve everything. The squad is good enough. Even if Raspadori scores a hat-trick. Like, we cannot go into the season with the squad like this. So, guys, feet on the ground. We know the limitations of the squad. One game should not change it. But, guys, tomorrow is super important, the 3 points, right? And that's kind of everything that matters. Now, Conte, after the game, I'm sure he will have a lot to say. So if you are new to the channel, you're watching this for the first time, then tomorrow, tune in after the game. We will do the usual match analysis, match review with player ratings, tactical board with arrows and everything. We will go over Conte's press conference and we will live chat about everything. So if you are new to the channel, make sure first you smash that like button, then you subscribe, and then tomorrow after the game, 15-20 minutes after the game, you come back and you follow the live stream. Guys, I've missed you. Tomorrow, let's have a nice one. And as always, Forza Napoli sempre. Ciao.